I mean, this is long, long overdue. The fact that Rolex hasn't already done this is, I mean, it's a joke. What is up, Watch fam? I am Christian from Theo and Harris, and today I'm going to be talking about my Baselworld predictions, both realistic and maybe moonshot. Before I get into my vintage wristwatch check, I'd like to remind you all, every month we give away a watch, no strings attached, to a lucky Watch Geek and TNH fan. Just subscribe to this channel and sign up in the link in the description. I can't tell you exactly what this month's giveaway watch is, but I can tell you it's a dive watch, and if you're a Rolex fan, you're probably going to love it. So, wristwatch check. I'm wearing Pole Radar by Universal Genève. It's designed by Gerald Genta, the man who went on to design Audemars Piguet's Royal Oak and Patek Philippe's Nautilus. Unbelievable watch. I think some of the best value in vintage watches. I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I won't stop saying it. This example is available in the watch shop at theoandharris.com, so if you'd like to have a closer look at that incredible dial, head on over. Link is in our description. So, Baselworld is coming up. It's kind of tumultuous. Swatch has pulled out. A lot of the speculation is that Swiss brands are kind of becoming just disinterested in the entire event. Same thing goes for SIHH. On one hand, I wonder why these events aren't successful anymore. I wonder why the industry's biggest, forums to announce this year's new releases could be unsuccessful. And on the other hand, I know so many people that go to these events and say that they suck. So I guess it only makes sense. But the biggest brand to release watches, the brand that everyone is looking at from all over the world, is Rolex. Every year the speculation is tremendous. Some years were right, many years were wrong, but these are my predictions. So, the Rolex Submariner will see a change this year. It's something that was kind of poked at by Rolex on their Instagram. Not in too great detail, you couldn't really tell what was going on, but definitely changes are coming to the Submariner. So what? First of all, I think that we're going to start seeing Submariners on Oysterflex bracelets. This is something that I believe was introduced with the Rolex's Yachtmaster in rose gold. I know that shortly thereafter it was integrated into their Daytona line, I believe only for precious metal Daytonas, yellow and white gold. And I'd really love to see this technology, this wonderful bracelet that I've never heard a single negative thing about, become available at a lower price point. I don't think this will happen with steel Daytonas. Not that it matters anyway, because no one can get a steel Daytona, but I think it's right for the Submariner. A truly durable rubber bracelet only makes sense. I think that it's a wonderful accessory that a tremendous amount of Submariner prospective buyers will just even add on during purchase for an extra $1,000. Next, I think a matte dial. I would love to see a matte dial Submariner. I don't think the matte dial is unrealistic, but I do think it's beautiful. The texture of even a lightly textured matte dial is to me far superior than modern glossy dials. I think it would definitely cause a stir. Next is Rolex's Explorer line, a line that I really think that we deserve some real change in. The most recent changes to the Explorer lines were basically just changes in size, which I think is fairly boring and uninventive. While color changes surely aren't revolutionary, I'd still like to see one. I'd love to see a white Rolex Explorer 1, something that hasn't been done ever. Actually, no, it has been done way in the past, very rare, albino Explorer, but that's really it. I think that an Explorer 1 with a white dial would be tremendous. People would love it. It would compete in some ways with the Oyster Perpetual in white, but the Explorer is so much more aggressive and sporty in its dial configuration. I think it'd be a huge success. Now, the next one, I said a year or two ago, it was kind of circulating, it never happened, but it may happen this year. A ceramic Explorer 2. I think this would be beautiful, whether in white or in black. Frankly, I think it might even be sexier than a Submariner. So I do think we're seeing changes to that line. Now, finally, and this is the one that I get excited about, the Milgauss. The Milgauss was not a part of Rolex's line for decades. They reintroduced it in the mid-2000s, and frankly, it's boring. The watches are fairly value-packed because they haven't really been appreciated on the market. You can get them in the $5,000 price point, that $5,000 to $6,000 range, which is good for a handsome Rolex. It's a handsome Rolex, but it's totally irrelevant. It's not even a cousin of a true Milgauss. The Milgausses, the Milgauss, have nothing to do with the heritage of such a beautiful model of Rolex. Now there are two predecessors in the Milgauss line. There are two references that we can tap into back in history. One is the 1019. Now, I don't think the 1019 is a remarkable, breathtaking, daring watch because it's not all too detailed. There are some that are beautiful, particularly with silver dials, but still it's not the reference that I hope Rolex pulls from. I really hope Rolex takes some design cues from the predecessor to the 1019, which is the reference 6541. This is, I think, maybe Rolex's most beautiful watch ever. Honeycomb dial, Dauphine hands, dagger indices, and acrylic bezel. This is a freaking dream, guys. And I don't want to be unreasonable. I know they won't use the vintage sizing, which I believe was 38. I know they would do 40 if they were to do it. Of course, they won't put a rivet bracelet. Rolex has made it very clear they have no interest in themselves doing stuff like that. That's more of a Tudor play, but again, no problem with that. Of course, Rolex wouldn't use like a vintage aluminum bezel. They would use ceramic. Again, the company isn't into like total reissues. And I'm almost certain that there wouldn't be a dome crystal, which really would be so sexy. But what I really would like to see, and I don't think it's unreasonable, Rolex, please tell me if I'm being unreasonable, it is a honeycomb dial, which you've done before in the day-date, so don't tell me you're afraid of honeycomb. And a dial configuration that, while updated, still does have that distinctive Milgauss look. A Milgauss is not a different color Submariner. A Milgauss is its own watch. And I really hope that you guys embrace that heritage. It's made one of the most beautiful references ever. And to sterilize the Milgauss, to make it like every other Rolex, to me is a goddamn shame. Rolex, please listen. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. It was really fun for me to make. If you love watches as much as I do, please subscribe to this channel, like this video, share it with a friend, and I will see you all very soon.